What if I told you that video games could jump off the screen and into the pages of a book, seamlessly blending 2D and 3D worlds? That's exactly what the Plucky Squire does, offering a fresh take on platforming and storytelling. But does it live up to the magic it promises, or is it just a clever gimmick? Let's find out. The Plucky Squire introduces us to Jot, a brave hero whose adventures unfold within the pages of a children's book. As the story goes, Jot is tasked with thwarting a villain bent on altering his fate. The twist here is that Jot doesn't stay confined to the book. At pivotal moments, he literally leaps off the page into a 3D world where the mechanics change and new challenges await. This unique blend of 2D and 3D gameplay keeps the narrative fresh and exciting, constantly blurring the lines between game and story. The game's narration and story animations remind me of how the movie Elf is narrated, which works really well in this setting. The way the storybook unfolds as you progress is both engaging and charming. It feels like stepping into an interactive Disney movie from back in the day, one that can be enjoyed by both kids and adults alike. And it even carries a Toy Story vibe, especially when Jot jumps into the 3D world, making it feel like a mix of childhood magic and modern creativity. The companions, Violet and Thrash, add to the charm with their humorous writing and well-timed banter. And while I won't spoil anything, let's just say the story has some promising twists that keep things interesting right up to the end. There's even a Lord of the Rings reference towards the end for the keen-eyed players out there. The Plucky Squire is a celebration of the importance of books and the lasting impact their stories can have on society. It's a game that truly feels good to play and enjoy thanks to its heartfelt storytelling and positive message. Jumping in now to the gameplay mechanics, and the Plucky Squire offers a delightful mix of puzzle solving, platforming, and combat, all of which are tied to the game's dual-natured world. The 2D segments play out like a traditional side-scroller with simple yet responsive controls, reminiscent of classic games like The Legend of Zelda, Link's Awakening, and Super Mario Odyssey when you go into the walls. The 3D sections, on the other hand, are a whole different beast, adding a layer of depth and exploration. The gameplay constantly keeps you on your toes with its variety. One moment you're exploring a 2D world, and the next you're playing a mini game that feels like a nod to Punch-Out. Definitely reminded me of Little Mac, and you'll know what I'm talking about when you play it. The game also has some clever mechanics where you can find words and place them in sentences to change the environment, like swapping the word forest for ruin to change a lush area into a dilapidated ruin. It's like Scribblenauts, but with a more storybook twist. I have to mention one of the first puzzles where I had to move biscuits to a cat. It was simple yet so satisfying and just brought a smile to my face. It's these kind of moments that showcase the game's clever design. The combat and puzzle elements are also well executed. Defeating all the enemies on a screen often unlocks a door in another area, similar to the classic top-down Zelda games, and the rock-rolling puzzles felt like they were straight out of Death Mountain. Without giving too much away about specific upgrades, the Plucky Squire provides a number of fun abilities that keeps gameplay interesting, offering creative ways to interact with the storybook world. This, combined with the distinct gameplay differences between the 2D and 3D sections, creates a well-rounded experience that never feels repetitive. It's a beautiful blend of old-school mechanics and innovative ideas that I think will surprise a lot of players. Visually, the Plucky Squire is an absolute treat. The 2D segments are reminiscent of vibrant children's book illustrations, with a hand-drawn feel that's just bursting with life. When Jot pops out into the 3D world, the game shifts to a colorful, stylized environment that complements the 2D art without clashing. The bright and cheerful colors, coupled with fluid animations, create a visual feast that's unlike anything I've seen before. Now, I played this on the PlayStation 5, and I will say that performance-wise, everything ran smoothly, and it was a firmly locked 60 frames per second. I did not experience any dips in the frame rate at all, even during the most action-heavy sequences. There's something incredibly charming about watching a character you've just guided through a page leap into a fully fledged 3D world, and the game's transitions are executed without any hitch. Jumping in now to the sound department, and the soundtrack in the Plucky Squire is as whimsical as its visuals. Every level is accompanied by catchy, lighthearted tunes that fit perfectly with the game's tone. The music from the Stage 5 minigame in particular has that 80s cartoon intro vibe that I absolutely love. It's energetic, nostalgic, and just plain fun. The rest of the music also does a great job of complementing the different atmospheres, whether you're in the serene 2D world or the bustling 3D world. The sound effects add a nice touch, with each action from page turning to stamping feeling perfectly placed. So, who is this game for? This game is a perfect example of why video games are for everyone. And the Plucky Squire is rated E for everyone, and it's easy to see why. It's accessible enough for younger players, yet its clever gameplay mechanics and charming story will keep adults entertained. It's the kind of game you can enjoy with your kids, or just as easily play on your own as I did for a feel-good experience. In terms of content, the game isn't overwhelmingly long, but it makes every chapter count. The dual nature of its world ensures that no two levels feel the same, keeping the gameplay loop fresh. There's enough here to satisfy completionists, with hidden secrets and collectibles scattered throughout both the 2D and 3D environments. When it comes to difficulty, the Plucky Squire strikes a nice balance. The game isn't a brutal challenge, but it offers enough variety and clever puzzle design to keep players on their toes. Puzzles are sprinkled throughout, but they aren't overly complex. The real fun comes from the way the game shifts its mechanics between 2D and 3D. In terms of pacing, the game keeps things moving at a brisk pace, never overstaying its welcome in any one mechanic or area. There's a natural flow from one level to the next, which makes it hard to put down once you get started. Now, here's where the Plucky Squire really shines. In a word, it feels magical. It's reminiscent of the first time I saw Toy Story in 1995, with its stunning art style and groundbreaking blend of dimensions. The game truly breaks the fourth wall, immersing you in a world that's as charming as it is innovative. Every chapter feels like a new adventure, and the sense of wonder it evokes is something special. You can tell the developers poured their hearts into creating a world that players of all ages can enjoy. It's the kind of game that makes you feel good playing it, like revisiting a favorite storybook from your childhood. And while the game is short, it's an experience you could see yourself returning to years down the line, just to relive the magic all over again. Alright, so let's talk about the fun factor now, and this is one of those games that puts a smile on your face from start to finish. Whether you're solving puzzles, exploring new worlds, or just admiring the stunning art, the Plucky Squire is a blast. It's creative, unpredictable, and fun in all the right ways. There's something about the way it melds different gameplay styles together that makes every moment enjoyable. So, how long is the game? I think for most players, the Plucky Squire will clock in at around 8 to 10 hours for a standard playthrough. I personally platinumed the game in about 8 hours, and every minute was time well spent. It didn't feel too short, and it didn't feel too long. It truly did feel just right. A perfect amount of time for the story it's trying to tell. Talking now about the legacy of the Plucky Squire, and I think this game is going to be remembered for a long time, and for good reason. It's the kind of title that stands out among indie games, offering a unique blend of gameplay, art, and story that feels truly special. I hope everyone makes a point to experience it because it's a game that showcases the creativity and magic that video games are capable of producing. Alright guys, now it's time for my final thoughts. So, is the Plucky Squire worth your time? Absolutely. This was a very unique experience that I think everyone would enjoy. It combines the best elements of classic storytelling with innovative gameplay mechanics to create something truly memorable. It's not just another platformer or puzzle game. It's an adventure that resonates with the joy of discovering a great book, the thrill of solving a challenging puzzle, and the magic of stepping into a world full of surprises. So whether you're a fan of platformers, puzzle games, or just looking for something that feels refreshingly different, the Plucky Squire is a game that deserves your attention. It's a testament to the power of creativity in game design and a reminder of why we all fell in love with video games in the first place. So do yourself a favor and dive into this enchanting story. Trust me, you won't regret it. So, what do you think of the Plucky Squire? Have you had a chance to play it yet? Or is it on your radar? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on any future reviews. If you're looking for more content, check out my other reviews, and don't forget to tune in to the weekly Nintendo Bite podcast every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Pacific time for more in-depth discussions on the latest Nintendo news and releases. Until next time, keep playing, stay awesome, and remember, you're never too old to play video games.